The restaurant was buzzing with the soft clinking of wine glasses and the murmur of polished conversations. But amidst the luxury, one woman moved quietly, unseen, unheard, and unacknowledged. Her name was Elena, a young waitress in her late 20s who had come to the city with a suitcase full of dreams and a heart full of determination. Every day she carried trays heavier than her hopes, serving people who didn't even glance at her face. But what no one knew was that beneath her humble uniform and polite smile was a woman fluent in 5 languages. One of them Mandarin Chinese learned through tears, love, and loss. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of never giving up, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Silent Stories, where every story reminds us that empathy can change a life. Elena wasn't just another waitress. She had once been a bright student in linguistics, working on translating cultural scripts between Europe and Asia. Her fascination with Mandarin had begun years ago when she met her mentor, Professor Liang, a visiting scholar from Beijing, who taught her not just the language, but its heart, its tones, poetry, and spirit. But when her mother fell gravely ill, Elena left her studies behind to take care of her family. After her mother's passing, debts piled up and the only job she could find in the city was at Maison d'Or, a high-end restaurant known for serving the elite, the kind of place where dreams came to die behind forced smiles. Every night she listened to conversations she could never join, business deals, laughter, gossip. They filled the room while she stayed invisible. Some coworkers mocked her accent when she spoke English. Others laughed when she mentioned she loved learning languages. "You speak Mandarin," one of them had sneered once. "Maybe just enough to read a fortune cookie." Elena had smiled politely and kept her silence. She had learned that people only see what they want to see. That day began like any other. Polished shoes, starched aprons, and the soft hum of classical music in the background. But whispers ran through the staff early in the morning. A billionaire is coming. Not just any guest. Mr. Han Chong, a powerful business magnate from China known for his investments, intelligence, and intimidating presence. Everyone wanted to impress him. The manager, a sharp man named Vincent, gathered the team before lunch. "Remember," he barked, "do not make mistakes. Smile, serve, and stay silent. He doesn't like unnecessary talking." Elena nodded quietly, assigned to serve table 5 right next to where Mr. Han would dine. As the afternoon light streamed through the golden curtains, the restaurant's energy shifted. Mr. Han arrived dressed immaculately in a tailored gray suit, his calm authority filling the room. He was accompanied by 2 assistants and an interpreter. The staff whispered among themselves, nervous, careful not to make a sound louder than a breath. When Elena approached to pour his wine, she heard Mr. Han speak softly to his interpreter in Mandarin about how foreign places often lack sincerity. The words stung her heart, though she knew he hadn't meant for her to understand. She hesitated, her hand trembling slightly as she placed his glass down. She wanted so badly to say something to show that someone in this room could understand him, could respond with respect. But her voice stayed trapped behind years of silence and fear of ridicule. Then came the moment that would change everything. Mr. Han mentioned his hometown, Hung, a city Elena knew well from her studies. Something inside her stirred. Without thinking, she softly whispered in perfect Mandarin, "Hung Jonhan Mei. Hung Jojo's autumn is truly beautiful." The interpreter froze. The table went silent. Mr. Han turned his head slowly, disbelief flickering across his face. The manager's eyes widened in horror from across the room. The air was thick enough to stop hearts. And then the billionaire spoke. "Still in Mandarin. You speak my language." Elena swallowed hard, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Yes, sir. I studied Mandarin for many years. It's an honor to meet someone from a place I've always admired. For a heartbeat." No one breathed. Then, to everyone's astonishment, Mr. Han's serious expression melted into a smile, genuine and warm. He began to converse with her in fluent Mandarin, testing her tones, her understanding. To every question, Elena responded gracefully. The more they spoke, the more impressed he became. The staff around stared in disbelief. The same people who once laughed at her. Even the guests nearby fell silent, watching an extraordinary scene unfold. A humble waitress speaking fluently with a man of immense power and wealth. Their words flowing like music in a language most there couldn't understand. But what truly silenced the room was what came next. Mr. Han leaned forward slightly, eyes soft, and said something no one expected. You pronounce my name perfectly, even with its tone. Most native speakers abroad can't do that. How did you learn? Elena's eyes glistened. A man once told me that language is not just sound, but respect. I learned it because I wanted to connect, to listen to stories beyond my own world. The billionaire's eyes softened further. For a moment, he said nothing, just studying her face. Then he laughed. A deep, heartfelt laugh that broke the tension. You remind me of someone I once knew, he said, turning to his team. This woman deserves better than to serve tables. The entire restaurant gasped. Cameras clicked as a few guests took photos. The manager stumbled over his words, trying to apologize for underestimating her. But Mr. Han was already standing, extending his hand toward Elena, the same hand that had signed billion-dollar deals. If you're ever looking for work, he said, come see me. People like you should never go unnoticed. Tears welled in her eyes as she shook his hand, her voice barely above a whisper. Thank you, sir. That means more than you know. For the rest of the afternoon, she felt weightless. The same co-workers who mocked her now looked at her with awe. The manager, red-faced, tried to act supportive. Word spread quickly. A viral video captured by a customer showed the billionaire laughing with the waitress who had spoken his name perfectly. Days later, Elena received a formal invitation from Mr. Han's office. He offered her a position as a translator and cultural consultant for his international foundation, focusing on language exchange programs for underprivileged students. When she read the letter, tears spilled down her cheeks. She had once been invisible, but now her voice had finally been heard. Not because she shouted, but because she spoke with truth, respect, and heart. As the camera pans out in your mind's eye, Elena standing under the same golden light where her life had changed. Remember this. Sometimes our quietest strengths are just waiting for the right moment to be noticed. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Silent Stories. Every click helps us bring more true and inspiring stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And before you go, tell us in the comments, Speech Balloon, have you ever been underestimated only to prove everyone wrong? Because sometimes the people you least expect can speak the language of courage, compassion, and destiny fluently.